Hey friends, Mr. Technologically Challenged Worm here, and I do apologize for the past 2 days. I had a cord, I don't know what happened to it, but it broke or something like that, so we didn't have an upload for the past 2 days, but here we are again, and I wanted to talk about just some issues with two things that have kind of recently come to light. First of all, Iron Banner, of course, is back this week, and it's the same thing we always talk about with Iron Banner, right? Iron Banner, number one, I don't like Fortress game mode. I don't like Fortress game mode, but that's kind of not just like my opinion, that's a collective opinion of the community. Um, I don't really know how they'd change it. I mean, I could sit here and brainstorm ideas, I'm sure, but I think that, it's not fun because of the way that the point system works. Like getting kills does absolutely nothing for you, right? So if you have a team that does, very poorly, they're dying consistently, they're doing this, blah, 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 they're dying, they're not defending very well, stuff like that. But you have a team that is all about getting kills and not capturing flags, you can still wind up losing. And yes, like this is true in basically kind of any game mode. Like if you don't have a team that plays, the way to play, you're going to lose. But I feel like with Iron Banner Fortress, it really solidifies that, right? I don't really, again, I don't know how they would change it. I mean, it's one of those things that's, you know, I don't know. It's awkward. It just feels weird. You only get points if you have a flag. That makes sense to me. I almost wish they had more of like a momentum control style where when you hold flags, you get points for holding flags, obviously, but if you get kills, you could also get points as well, or something like that. That way, if you have a team that cannot, for whatever reason, break a spawn trap, for example, and we know that spawn traps are bad. Bungie just admitted in their TWAB last week that spawn traps are really prominent on some areas, or on some maps, sorry. But if you have a team that gets spawn trap, but you personally like can get out of the spawn trap, kill 3 or 4 enemies every time, it still sucks to lose. I think that the catch up mechanic with the whole middle zone thing, it is no secret that middle zone is heavily weighted towards a certain part of the map. For example, like what is it? I can't remember the name of the map. Radiant Cliffs. Radiant Cliffs, A, B, and C. The better flags to hold for like the control based game mode, like control, is A and B, right? A is a very, very easy flag to hold because it's difficult for enemies to capture because your spawn is basically right there. If you have the A flag and the enemy's capturing it, you spawn very, very close to it. But with the C flag, it's definitely not as good. And for C flag, in order to go to B or to A, you have to funnel yourself into certain areas. So the capture point that spawns, even though it's in the middle of the map, it spawns in a place that is more convenient for C, right? Like, because C is the worst, the worst of the three map flags on the map, right? And so it spawns in a way that makes it where you can run from C, you get that cover right there, and people that are spawning at A have to basically again funnel themselves into where the middle capture point is, blah blah blah. Which that sounds great in theory because it's like, oh well, the stronger team's gonna hold A and B, so that we give C a chance here. But what ends up happening is players will simply go around the back of between A and C and basically flip the spawns. So then you get a situation where it's like, oh hey, like now they hold the flag, and they get a ton of points, and it feels weird. I guess, but again, I don't really know how they would change it. But other than that, I mean, Iron Banner, it still has its, I don't know if I'd say skill-based matchmaking or connection-based matchmaking issues. But it feels like, number one, it takes a long time to find Iron Banner matches as opposed to regular control matches for me. I did notice that. But also, not only is it taking longer, but like I feel like the games are way more imbalanced. I mean, we had a video just like a week ago or something where we talked about the Crucible game mode and the unbalanced teams. You'll have a team where somebody will have a 4.0 KD and everybody else on the team will be less than 1, right? And the other team is like 1s and 2s across the board, but that feels so much more amplified in Iron Banner. Like it's like they take the absolute best player in the lobby and put them with the 5 worst players, and then everybody else gets put on the other team, right? And I definitely don't agree with that, and I don't really know what the matchmaking parameters are. I don't know if they try to do it more skill based, if they try to, you know, weigh in a lot heavier on people's, you know, their skill rating and stuff like that. But I don't know how the whole system works. I'm not a developer or anything like that. But yeah, that's Iron Banner Fortress. Of course, I think Iron Banner, by and large, is a decent game mode. Like, it's a nice twist to get every now and then. You know, Eruption, for example. My opinion, Eruption is a great game mode. I don't personally like it that much, but it is a fantastic game mode. Like, it is something totally different, and everybody that I talk to seems to love Iron Banner Eruption. So I think that Eruption is a really, really good game mode to have in Destiny 2. And I think Iron Banner Eruption is fine. Iron Banner Control, kind of the same thing, you know, it's Control has a little bit of a different twist, you know, with the whole triple capping, and you get, you know, 30 seconds of guaranteed, you know, triple points, stuff like that. So I think that's pretty good, but I don't know. I do have to give Bungie props again for trying new game modes. I think that's fantastic. I would like to see more creative and new game modes out of the game in the future. If they suck, that's okay. I'm okay with, you know, a season of having a sucky game mode for Iron Banner, because it shows, hey, they are trying something. Next season, though, if it still sucks, like, take it out. Don't do it again. And that's kind of how I feel about Fortress. And I feel like that's how a lot of people feel about Fortress. But of course, I want to hear your thoughts on, you know, the Fortress game mode and the Eruption game mode. Like, do you think they're good? Do you think they're bad? Do you think they're fun? Do you think they're not? Oh, another issue, of course, with Iron Banner Fortress is the amount of bubble and well spam is absolutely insane. I've said this time and time again. One of the reasons I don't play Trials is because a lot of games, it's not so much down to skill, it's so much to who has better stats, who can get their super first, who can, you know, pop their super on the point, who can put their bubble on the point first, or who can, you know, activate their super first. Like, I would love to see in certain game modes, such as Iron Banner Fortress and Trials of Osiris, supers just have a flat cooldown rate, right? Not associated with intellect and stuff like that, you know, because Trials, this is not a video about Trials, but Trials is a whole different game mode than the rest of the Crucible and the rest of Destiny 2, quite frankly. You know, Trials is not a mode that's, yeah, it's on a whole different level. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. That's how I feel about Iron Banner. Of course, like I said, I want to know your thoughts about the game modes that they have. Do you agree with what I said? Do you think they're kind of rough? Do you think they're good? Do you think they're bad? Blah, blah, blah. But the other thing that I wanted to talk about today, and this was new, I just watched a Paul Tassi video talking about veil containment. We happened to get in my recommended feed, so I watched it. And apparently, I didn't know this, but apparently there is a veil containment mission where you get massive, like, lore bits every single week. Like, every single week there's a new one. This, to me, is wild, because this is something that, like, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, right? Because on one hand, I think a lot of the community, they've expressed that we want to see more mystery, I guess. Is that a way to put it? I guess more mystery in Destiny, because of course one of the appeals of Destiny 1 was it had this, like, mysterious aura to it. Like, we didn't get a lot explained to us in game. It was all like, okay, like, you know, what is this, what is that? Like, there was curiosity and mystery surrounding it. And in Destiny 2, it's all about, you know, big action, blah blah blah, stuff like that. So I think it's kind of neat that Bungie put in this little, like, side quest to get massive like lore information. We're really not doing much of anything. Like, I haven't done it, but, like, I watched a video, and, like, you just go and interact with a computer, and that's literally the mission, but it gives you a good amount of lore. But I think that's really cool. That, I guess, I feel like that's their attempt to bring back the mystery. But I also think that it is really weird that they chose to just do this. Like, they didn't say anything about veil containment or anything like that. Like, they just threw it into the game, and, you know, so many people didn't know about it. I didn't know about it. I played Destiny literally all the freaking time, and I didn't know this thing existed until I saw Paul Tassi's video where he is like, hey, like, you know, go here and do this. Like, check out this lore information and stuff. And I'm like, what? And so I go, you know, on Nessus, and I look, or not Nessus, I'm sorry, the planet Neomuna. I go to Neomuna, and sure enough, there is a veil containment option down there. My mind was blown. Yeah, and it's not one that you can just do over and over again to get them all. Like, it's on a weekly basis. So if you started this week, hopefully they don't go away at the end of the season. I don't see them do it. I don't see that happening, because it is a Neomuna thing that's more associated not with the season pass, but with the season, but with the yearly expansion. So Hopefully there's only like, you know, maybe 12, 15 different dialogue bits. That way, over the course of the year, we get more and more information on Maya Sundaresh and stuff like that. You know, because I would sure hate for them to have 52 weeks worth of lore that goes away in final shape because people just didn't know about it. But yeah, I don't know. Very odd choice by Bungie. I don't know if it's I want it, like, on one hand, like I said, I want to say it's a good thing, but on the other, I want to say it's like it's almost a bad thing. They just randomly threw this in there with absolutely no hints. Not only that, but like it's on Neomuna, like you don't see it when you're in Neo, like you have to go down and out of the way. Like it is completely off screen. There's no pointers or anything going to it. You know, Paul Tassi talks about that in his video. I just think it's a wild choice. But yeah, of course, I want to hear your thoughts on it though. Like, do you think that it was good that Bungie did this? Do you think it was kind of, I mean, obviously it's good that they added it, but do you think it was a good thing that they made it so secret that literally thousands, if not tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of players didn't even know it, including veterans like myself? Like, I did not know that was a thing. Yeah, maybe that's what I get, I guess, for not paying closer attention or something. But yeah, I do apologize again for the lack of content over the past few days. It's a cord, like I said, got messed up. The microphone cord that you see on this thing, yeah, I had to order a new one of these because it got frayed further down the line, so I had to get it all set back up and wrapped up and stuff like that. But yeah, anyways, thanks you for watching. Of course, like the video if you enjoyed it or if you agreed with it. Subscribe for more daily Destiny content, and hey, do me a favor, watch the video you see on the end screen because for whatever reason YouTube thinks you might like it. That's it for me, and I'll see y'all in the next one.